Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if this is your first time visiting this channel, click on the subscribe button and smash the notification bell so that whenever I post a new video you will get notified as soon as possible. Yeah, so it is a new week here again. Alright, I've been very occupied this weekend. Yeah, so I couldn't reply most of the messages that came into my DM. So if you are listening to me and I haven't replied you in my DM that is on Telegram, kindly bear with me. I'm going to attend to you, God willing, Monday right here, because it has been a very hectic weekend for me. But hey, I can't shy away from looking at the chat. It's a habit now, so let's get going. All right. Yeah, so last week was very rough for me. Trust me, last week was a very rough week for me. All right, and based on that, I mean, there are some hard decisions that I've taken, and I think going forward is going to help me, and I mean, every one of you here watching. Yeah, so going forward, these are the pairs I'm going to focus on. All right, I'm trying my best to minimize the number of currencies that I trade on the market. All right, yes, and then as well as the pairs I look at. All right, yeah, going forward, it's going to help me, and then it's going to help you as a follower too as well. All right, because I mean we are still in the development journey. All right, I'm journeying my development with all of you. All right, and so we need to do things that is going to help us in the long term. This I think is going to help us. Focusing on few pairs, few currencies is good. All right, yeah. So let's look at what the market is doing and how we are going to go into the market going into a new week. So let's start with the dollar index. So for the dollar index, if you look at the weekly time frame on the dollar index, realize that the dollar is still bullish. The dollar is very bullish, and looking at the last week's high impact news, then data that came out as far as the dollar is concerned were very strong positive data. That should tell you how strong the dollar is. And so at the moment, on the macro perspective, I'm not seeing any reversal or any movement to the downside as far as the dollar is concerned. All right, yeah, I'm still bullish. I'm still bullish on the dollar index. So on a macro view, I'm very bullish. But let's delve into the lower time frame and see what is happening. So on the weekly is still looking very bullish for me. All right, the weekly is still looking very bullish for me now. Sorry, the daily is looking very bullish for me. So on the daily, I'm still expecting price to read the 115 price zone. All right, but let's switch to the 4-hour and see what is happening on the 4-hour. So last week I made this post on my Telegram channel. So even on my Telegram channel, you realize that I was expecting price to move to this zone, to tap into this fair value gap, and it did that beautifully. All right, and once this was done, we saw price would push to the downside into this zone. All right, and so on the 4-hour, it's going to be very difficult to see a very quick move to the upside. So just as we are seeing here, we've seen an equal low, relative equal lows formed here, which is a point of liquidity for the market, and we are seeing a previous high being readed. And so I'm really expecting to see price. I mean, if price should move to the upside, it's going to be very difficult. All right, it's going to be very difficult for price to move to the upside, but it's going to be very easy for price to move into this zone, to clear this relative equal lows, then back into this previous high before we see a push to the upside. All right, and so going into a new week, this is what I'm expecting to see in the market. All right, this is what I'm expecting to see in the market. If that does not happen, we have this zone here. All right, if that does not happen, then once this zone is straight away being violated, I will expect price to push to this zone, and then we see a continuation to the downside. And so I'll look at how Monday's price action is going to react. I'm going to look at how Monday's price action is going to react so far as the dollar index is concerned. All right, yeah, so that is my perspective on the dollar index. Let's look at what is happening on EURGBP. Let's look at what is happening on EURGBP. Yeah, so for EURGBP on the weekly, sorry, on the daily, we are seeing a bearish order flow. All right, order flow on the daily is bearish. Let's go to the weekly and see what is happening on the weekly. Yeah, so this is on a weekly. All right, this is on a weekly. On a weekly, we are seeing price breaking previous lows, breaking previous lows, and then respecting the highs. So far as the current price action is concerned, but let's switch to the 1 month time frame and see what is happening on a bigger perspective. So on a bigger perspective, we are seeing price push to the downside, and then this is the next draw on liquidity on price. All right, this liquidity has already been taken. All right, this liquidity has already been taken by this low we are seeing here, and so I'm seeing price drawing to this liquidity. All right, because look at what is happening here. Price is really is really struggling to clear up this high. All right, which tells you that there is a strong bearish move so far as the EURGBP is concerned. So on the monthly, I'm expecting to see price push to the downside to take out this liquidity and then tap into the zone we are seeing here. All right, let's switch to the 4-hour. Yeah, so this is what is happening on the 4-hour time frame. So this is the zone that I marked on the monthly. Let me take it off. This is what is happening on the 4 hours. On the 4 hour, we saw initial consolidation, and then we saw a push to the upside, clearing the buy side liquidity, and then right from there we saw a push to the downside. We saw a little bit of retracement, and we saw a quick impulsive move to the downside, clearing up this sell side liquidity. And so look at what is happening here. After the impulsive move, look at the correction that we are seeing here. It tells us that price is still bearish. All right, yeah, so right after this correction, I'm expecting that impulse move to downside, taking out these lows. And so going into a new week, I'll expect to see EURGBP continue to push to the downside. I'm expecting to see EURGBP continue to push to the downside. So I'm expecting to see EURGBP continue to push to the downside, taking out this low and then these lows too as well. So far as EURGBP is concerned, I am bearish on EURGBP. All right, I'm bearish on EURGBP. So that is this for EURGBP. Let's look at what is happening on GBPUSD. Let's look at what is happening on GBPUSD. And so for GBPUSD, we arrived at a bearish sentiment on the 4-hour time frame so far as the dollar index is concerned. And so for GBPUSD too, I will expect to see a push. All right, I'll expect to see a push to the upside short term, then we see push to the downside again. All right, I'm expecting to see a push to the upside short term, taking out these highs. All right, before we see a push to the downside. All right, because previous high has been violated and price is currently within this zone. All right, and so looking at this high we are seeing here, all right, looking at this high we are seeing here, I'm expecting to see price push to the upside, taking out this high, then we see a push to the downside. But if price fails to move up to take out this high, this is how I want price to close within this region. If price closes like this, all right, then definitely you are going to see a push to the downside. Why am I saying this? All right, we had an impulse move here. We had an impulse move here, and so on a normal, when we have an impulse move here, what we expect to see is what is correction. Right, in a normal time frame, on the normal, we take this as our order block. This green candle we are seeing here. All right, we take this as our bearish order block, so that when price gets here, we see a rejection to the downside. But it didn't happen that way. It violated it, and once a bearish order block is being violated, we expect that price will come back to that zone to reprice to the upside. That is how it is. All right, That is what I'm saying, that I'm expecting to see price pushed up to what, once it is here, push up to this zone to clear it before we see a continuation to the downside, or if not, I'm expecting price to what, to come back within this region to close within this zone, and then we see a continuation to the downside. So that is my expectation on the GU. All right, that is my expectation on GU. So this is a trade we took last week. All right, so last week I posted this on my Telegram channel. I posted this trade on my Telegram channel. This was a breakout that I was expecting price to respect, and it did exactly that. And I think that gave us just about 225 pips, which is very, very good. All right, it's very, very good. So if you took the trade, I mean, that's good. All right, yeah. So that is just that for GBPUSD. That is just that for GBPUSD. Let's look at what has happened on GBPJPY. Let's go what has happened on GBPJPY. So for GBPJPY, price is still bullish. On a higher time frame, I'm still seeing price in a bullish environment, and so this high, I'm expecting to see price clear this high. But this week we have a CPI, GBP CPI, that is on Wednesday. All right, yes, on Wednesday. So I'll wait and see how the news reacts in the market. All right, but I'm still bullish. All right, I'm still bullish. So we might see the news would move price to this zone before we see a continuation to the downside, sorry, to the upside. All right, yeah. So I'll be on the sidelines to check out how the market reacts Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. All right, yes, I'll be on the sideline to check out how price reacts Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So within these 3 days, I'm expecting the low of the week to form. Once the low of the week forms within these 3 days, then I just jump in and then take whatever trade that I have to take. So that is just that for GBPJPY. So for GBPJPY, I'll be waiting for the pound CPI. I'll be waiting for the pound CPI, and based on that, that will tell me where the market is likely to draw to long term. So that is just that for GBPJPY. Let's look at what has happened on Nasdaq. So for Nasdaq, we are still seeing bearish movement. All right, for Nasdaq, we are still seeing bearish movement. Let's switch to the 4-hour and see what is happening on the 4-hour. So this is it. All right, so we've seen price entering into this zone, and so going into a new week, I'm expecting to see price push up, all right, to this zone. Then you see a continuation to the downside. Then we see a continuation to the downside. If you can recall, we just had the analysis on the dollar index, and for dollar index, I'm expecting to see price would push to the downside a little bit before we see a move to the upside. All right, and the dollar index and then the Nasdaq are negatively correlated. So if you see the dollar index in the upside, you should see Nasdaq on the downside. And so if I'm expecting a short-term bearishness on the dollar index, which is on the 4-hour, then I should also expect a short-term bullishness on Nasdaq before we see a push to the downside. So that is my expectation on Nasdaq. That is my expectation on Nasdaq. I'm expecting price to push to the zone. Then we see a move to the downside, taking out this low. All right, we see a move to the downside, clearing these lows as well. So that is my expectation on Nasdaq. That is my expectation on Nasdaq. Let's look at what is happening on gold. Let's look at what is happening on gold. So gold is bearish. All right, gold is looking bearish for me, and so going into a new week, I'm expecting to see price retrace a little bit to this area before we see a push to the downside. All right, here, so just as we can see here, I'm expecting to see price push to this zone, then we see a push to the downside, taking out this low. So I'm expecting price to get to 1620 price area. All right, yes, that's where I'm expecting to see price get to So if I'm to take any trade, that is going to be my short-term target. Then from there we see how market react. All right, yeah, from there we see how the market react. Yeah, so that is just that going into a new week. All right, yes, that is just that going into a new week. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, click on the subscribe button and smash the notification bell as well. If you're not part of my Forex Telegram community, check the description box below. The link is there. Click on it and be part of my Forex Telegram community. Until I come your way again, I wish you all good luck and good trade going into a new week.